Hi there. So this video will not contain any special motion graphic effects, animations, or transitions. So let's get straight to the objective. What I want to achieve here is to upgrade the edition of this Windows Server operating system from Datacenter to Standard. When you do WinVer over here, you can see this is Server 2022 Datacenter. What we want to do is to just bring this down to Standard without us losing the data, and also upgrade from 2022 to 2025. So how do we go about doing that? The first thing that we have to do is to access our registry. And within the registry, there are three peculiar things that we have to change. So what we have to do here is to go to the local machine, expand local machine, and go to software. And from software, we simply have to locate Microsoft. So there is Microsoft over there. And here we have to look for Windows NT. Now it's in Windows NT that we're going to change these three things. So we go to current version over here, and then we look for composition. So composition edition, you'll find that this is currently on Datacenter. What we're going to do is just change it to standard. So go ahead and change that to standard, and then just copy it so that we can replicate it as we go. And then we look for edition ID. Edition ID is over here, and we change that to standard as well. Click OK. And then the final thing that we're going to change over here is the product name. So go to product name over there and change that to standard. So those are the three things that we have to change. And once we have made those changes, we then can go ahead and begin the installation. But, you've got to remember that making changes to your registry can be detrimental to your operating system. And this particular video is just for demonstration purposes in terms of a workaround that you can actually work with. Now, this is not something that you would do on a domain controller. It will break your DC. And you can also not do it on a Windows Azure edition of Windows operating system. So those are the two that I've tried so far that won't actually support this. So let's go ahead and mount this operating system. And once we have mounted our ISO image over here, we'll simply go and start the setup. So in here, let's go ahead and begin the setup. Okay, so from here, we'll proceed with the installation. Just go ahead and click next. And then we'll be prompted to provide our product key. And here we have the option to choose which version of Windows Server we simply want. So we want the 2025 standard desktop experience. We'll select that and click next. Okay, and this brings us to the main part. And over here, we have the opportunity that allows us to keep files, settings, and applications. And this is one of the main objectives of this particular video. You want to be able to downgrade your edition of Windows Server, upgrade the version of Windows Server, and save the files. So let's go ahead and click on next over there and see how this is going to complete within our environment. So there it goes. All right, so let's go ahead and click on install. All right, so the installation is nearly done. Let's see. Once we sign in, it's currently applying all the various settings as well as the data that we have in different parts of our server to ensure that nothing is lost in the process. And the moment of truth, there we go. And you can see that we have Windows Server 2025, and here is our backup folder. We haven't lost any of the files that we had in here. We had IT and cells, that is still intact, and the various icons that we had on the desktop are still there. Even if we went to our server manager, we'll be able to take note of any services that we had previously that are still intact. And if we went to Windows information, you would notice that the information we've got over here points to this particular server being a Windows Server 2025 standard. And if we did Windows version by going WinVer and press enter, that still would confirm that we're now running Windows Server 2025 standard. I hope you found this to be very helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.